PowerPoint. Thank you for coming to the Union Street Sewer Separation Project. I'm here with Terry Maris, the City Engineer, Stephanie Secord, our Public Information Outreach, Bill Corbett from CMA Engineers, Jack from CMA Engineers, and Dave Fosis from the city as well.
Please speak into the microphone so the people can hear.
Right, I will stay seated then. Feels wrong to present sitting down. So we've gone over some of the people involved, city staff, our engineering consultants, CMA engineers, and then stakeholders are the residents in the neighborhood with a vested interest in the project.
Good, Zach, I'll run with it from here. So, right, tonight we are going to present, it'll be recorded. We'll present the PowerPoint online, get some good feedback during the meeting and after the meeting. You guys, the other ones here, there's a couple people on Zoom, but hopefully other people will see it as well and see the conceptual plan and let us know if they have any other concerns as we look to finalize the design. So tonight we're just going to review the purpose of the project. We did that a little bit at our first public meeting, which was back in February. Describe what we've done since then, present the conceptual designs for the roadway utility layout, and then talk about what we're doing next along with the schedule. And then we'll get some outreach from you guys, and if there's anyone else on Zoom, that's great. If we can get any feedback now and get some public comment. So purpose of tonight, right, to present the conceptual design, solicit feedback, and describe what we're doing next. So to review the purpose of the project, the primary objective is to separate the sanitary sewer and drainage pipes so that we have separate drainage outfall from the sewer. And in doing that, we're going to replace water sewer drainage and reconstruct the roadway, sidewalk, and curbing. The separation will reduce the combined flows to the wastewater treatment plant. It's required by EPA under consent decree and New Hampshire DES, and will also give us an opportunity to reconfigure some of the sewers that now run backlot through people's properties and relocate them to roadways so they're in public access areas. And talked about replacing the utilities, and then also we'll look to incorporate some what we call low impact design stormwater treatment facilities to help improve water quality. And then again, right, after that's all done, reconstruct the streets and the sidewalks. So here's just kind of an overview of what it is today. So the magenta line there is the existing combined drainage and sewer. So stormwater from the roadway gets into the drains, goes in the sewer with the sanitary sewer flows, runs around the 211 building out to Cabot, and then on down to Miller. And so we're looking to separate that and provide two separate pipes, which we'll see on the next slide. So that would be the blue pipe would be our new drain pipe. And we have to construct that all the way down from Union, Austin, and Cabot to an existing connection on Miller, which is going to require some impacts to the sidewalk on the side of Middle Street. And then we'll provide sanitary sewer, Austin, Union, Cabot, Coffin Court. They'll be out in the public right of way with new service connections to there. And then you'll see some of the orange hatch buildings. So we're going to be, from here, we're going to be doing some further basement assessments because those are some of the homes that we've identified that likely require replumbing in order to accommodate this revised sewer configuration. So you saw the backlot sewer there before, people's service connections connected to that sewer main. In order to get it out to the roadway, we have to reconfigure some of the plumbing that may come out of the back of someone's home to the front of their home. And also we're raising some of the sewers. We got to accommodate some of those sewer services with replumbing. So we did the first round of basement surveys to understand which homes we might have to address. And now that we worked through the design, we've pretty much located those and we need to figure out the scope of what needs to happen. We'll talk about that a little bit more, I think, further on. Right, so what we've done since the public meeting in February, did the basement surveys, so we got a lot of good information. I think there was 125 homes between, there's two projects that are kind of going in parallel, Willard Ave area reconstruction, and then this project. So those two areas understand what the services are in people's homes, if they have drains and sumps that we need to accommodate, location of gas services, all those things coming into the basement, so we can accommodate those better in the project, and then understand which homes we need to likely replumb in order to make work with the new sewer mains. We did the geotechnical investigations, which is the borings to understand what the subsurface conditions are, ledge, groundwater, condition of the soil. We reviewed trees, we did that with the city's arborists to understand the tree resources that are out there. And then with that information developed and with the feedback from the public, and in collaboration with the city, we developed the utility drainage conceptual design and roadway streetscape design. So yeah, there are a lot of significant tree resources in the project area, on Union Street and Austin Street. And unfortunately, it's possible to eliminate all impacts to the trees, but we do consider the layout of sidewalks, because it's having a tree that takes 20-30 years to establish is an important resource. And if we can make accommodations to that, we try to. So we're balancing putting new ADA compliant accessible sidewalks in that can be maintained, providing acceptable curb to curb width for the roadway, and reconstructing all the utilities with trying to save the trees as we can. So we kind of have three categories: as trees we're should be able to accommodate, trees that we're gonna have to monitor during construction, understand if there's impacts to them, and then trees that'll definitely have to be removed because of the impacts from construction. So the first public meeting, right, some of the things we heard, and this isn't all comprehensive, but some of the areas, key areas of feedback was they didn't want the curb to curb width to be too narrow. It is heavily parked on both sides, and particularly in the winter when there's snow storage and other things, it gets confined and difficult to get out of driveways, difficult to park and get through the corridor. So there was concern about, a lot of the other projects, neighborhood projects on the east side of Middle had kind of a 28-foot curb to curb width, including the section of Union just east of Middle, opposite this section of Union. So we reevaluated what it would mean, looked at several different options, what the impacts would be and how that might lay out, and widened it to 30 feet, which is pretty much what it is today. I mean, it varies between 29 and 31.5. It's not consistent and parallel through the entire street. So it will be a consistent 30 feet from State to Middle, but it'll be fairly similar to what's out there today. Right, we reviewed utility service connections, worked with flow assessments to get into homes and understand where we may need to do replumbing of homes and what accommodations were needed, and also reviewed some of the the concerns were the backyard connections, which we're going to accommodate with the revised sewer layout, and then also people's concern with just construction cost and court, which we continually need to consider how we get things built in there with sensitivities of the proximity homes and old basements and those sorts of things. So yeah, I described that. That's our layout. So we have a couple different sections, and if you can't see it well here, you can get online and zoom into things, take a look. But so Union Street from State to Austin, one of the bigger impacts will be the elimination of, there's a small grass strip on the north side between State and Austin now, but you can't accommodate that with providing a sidewalk on both sides and the 30-foot curb to curb. It wasn't gonna be a meaningful grass strip that we could do much in, so we provided a wider sidewalk there and then a grass strip and accommodated some significant mature trees on the south side. With a grass strip there that varies 3.5 to 4.5 feet. And then from Austin to Middle, there is a section on the south side, first couple lots that doesn't have a grass strip. For the most part, it'll be about 3 feet on either side and a 5.5 foot sidewalk. And then Austin will be similar as it is today with a grass strip on the west side, and none on the east side. And all the trees have grown in that section, and we'll maintain those with a couple impacts, but nothing too significant. So it'll be pretty similar to what's out there today. So with that roadway section and our layout, and they kind of see on there the impacts to the trees. So the green ones are the ones we're should be able to accommodate well. Orange is we need to monitor the maybe impacts with the proximity of utility, curbing, sidewalk construction, and then red ones will likely come out because they won't be able to accommodate with the design. And the purple line is the sidewalk, green is grass strip areas, and then the pavement in between. And the yellow is just driveway access to homes. So yeah, you can take a look at that, and that's up here too. We look after the meeting. Yeah, and certainly drainage is an issue out there now. The pavement's a mess, curbing's inconsistent. So there will be significant improvements when the road's reconstruction with new, minor profile adjustments, establishing the crown of the road, adding curbing in consistently along the road. And then also, we're certainly constrained with space in the right of way in an urban corridor. But again, we'll look to incorporate some type of water quality best manager practices into there that we've used on other streetscape projects that will treat water before we discharge them into the drainage system. And right, there's the overall utility layout. So again, water main throughout the project corridor on Union Street, Austin Street, Coffins Court, between Union and Cabot. And then we need to reconstruct part of the sewer main on Cabot to complete the separation and some of the drainage. And then there'll be a new drain line constructed along the east side of Middle Street to accommodate a new drain outfall to Miller. So yeah, I talked about this a little bit, and that's going to be our next step. That Jack here is kind of heading up that effort. He'll be going door to door and setting up some appointments to review with a plumber to understand how and what the scope of reconfigurations need to be. We know we need to either replumb them to a different side of the home, or they may have to get raised up. And so we just need to make sure that works ahead of finalizing the design for the project and incorporate what needs to happen before changeovers get done. I think I pretty much went through most of those bullet points. So yeah, and if this reconfiguration is required because we're relocating the sewer main, then the city pays for replumbing inside someone's home. If it's because we're moving a sewer main from the back of the home to the front of the home. So that'll be done as part of the project and scheduled to be done, winter, spring next year ahead of the project. So, right, that individual homeowner plumbing coordination will be upcoming the next month. Looking to try to schedule some consolidated appointments with these 12 or so homes. And we will be working through finalizing the preliminary design or the details of the project through the summer, and then really wrapping things up in the fall to try to get some bid ready documents ready for the end of the year so that the project will be bid at the beginning of the year with a planned construction start in the spring. So that's the most optimistic schedule, but we should be on track right now, barring any major redirections here. So yeah, happy to hear any comments tonight. We'll we'll get to that in a second, and then want to make sure that people access the website. There is a project-specific website, so the things like this presentation, the first presentation, and if you really want to dig in and look at the plans, you can zoom into those, look at them at your leisure on your own screen, and there'll be some more notifications posted there as we progress and things come up. And there's a sign up for email sign up for notifications on there as well, so that you can get those regular informational notifications.
Oh,
Sharing it.
I believe I am. Go through the presentation.
Double check that it's being shared on Zoom. Turn it on, you said share.
Yep.
Go ahead and share it, and then just run through it quick.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. We got good practice in.
I'm very sorry for everyone on Zoom. You hit present here and it did not come up for you guys, so very sorry about that. We duplicate our screen now.
Well, I heard what we
Think
said, so probably
a
just
lot of
looking
it
at the
you just
plan is,
Go down to the plan, Zach, and then you
Okay.
can run through, maybe Phil just run through the plan again and
yeah,
go through the different areas and,
you want to maximize that.
yeah, share.
Just present.
So, yeah. Sorry about that. We'll redo for folks on Zoom, so you can see what's happening. That wasn't making much sense as you couldn't see the graphics, but here's the existing sewer.
Share it, so you'd see the little Zoom guy.
Oh, we're almost there. We're getting there.
Okay. Share. Not. Try duplicate the screen. Duplicate. Leave.
Right, yeah, presentation modes if it works. Ask Eric.
Yes, Eric, are you there?
I'm here.
What are you able to see?
I'm able to see the presentation with the slides on the left, and can you go full screen to make it the main slide bigger? There you go.
Okay, so this is the full screen for you?
Yes.
Okay, again, very sorry. You'd think we'd know Zoom by now.
Well, now we got it. So that's the, right, so I think the only we'll revisit some of the non-text only slides and the graphics. So this is the existing combined sewer and drainage. And right now it runs back lot around 211 Union, out by 34 Cabot, out on Cabot Street. And one of the main objectives of the project is to separate that water and sewer and also eliminate the back lot run, people from Coffin's Court and people along both Middle and Cabot all connect back lot across other people's lot to the sewer. So we're going to reconfigure that with what's shown on the next slide. With a new separated drain and sewer where everything's in the public right of way. So the blue is the drain and the green is the sewer. And it'll be entirely new drain connections, since obviously there isn't one now because it's combined, that will connect to an existing drain manhole in Miller Ave, which impacts the sidewalk along the east side of Middle, and then a new sewer main in the right of way. And those, I was referring to the homes that will likely need plumbing modifications, and those are the ones that are hatched orange in this slide here. So in order to get your service to connect out into a sewer main in the roadway, you have to reconfigure some of your plumbing to make that work.
Zach, can you jump down at the
Yes.
full?
The roadway layout?
Yep.
Yes.
There's some nice trees, street.
So these were the cross sections we spoke about earlier, the Union Street from State to Austin, showing 30-foot roadway width to maintain more or less what you currently have for roadway width. Sidewalks on both sides, a grass strip on,
So it's grass strip on the south side between State and Austin, and then on both sides, Austin to Bell for most of it. And then on Austin Street, it'll be like it is today, grass strip on the west side and none on the east side. And there's the layout, which probably most people are concerned about. Right, so again, you can see the grass strips and one of the bigger impacts is the no grass strip on the north side of Union between State and Austin, which impacts the trees there. But we're balancing, trying to provide a good standard sidewalk that we can maintain with a good curb to curb width. And we can accommodate some trees, and there are some nice trees, particularly on the southwest corner of Austin and Union. So we're able to maintain those and some sort of grass strip through that stretch. Those are just some urban stormwater treatment devices that, we'll incorporate into the project, and then there's the actual utility layout. And then a little bit more details, bit of a mess, but generally water and sewer and drainage within the roadways with water replacement throughout Union, Austin, Conference Court. That's it. I think I covered.
oh, yes, so we'll go back one.
Yeah, so that's the website, and again, we'll post it there, but if you went to the city's public works site and clicked on projects, you could find that link and see this and sign up for the notifications.
So that brings us to
Good,
questions.
now we got it twice.
Stop the share. Stephanie, if I could ask you to go over the chat.
I guess we could, you guys came in first, so I think you get first run at it, right? Yes.
Excuse me, sir, would you mind just back to the microphone real quick, do you mind?
Thank you, no, they hear you, if you just want to say where you live.
We'll make you do it twice like this.
Yeah, we don't have to do it twice, but
Saw the term backyard sewer. I
yes.
think I heard you say 11 houses. Would we know by now if we're one of the
There's a slide
11?
for that, the orange lots that are shown on the
It's
slide.
easier to see on the wall, it didn't look like this.
I didn't have to on there.
Go back a couple slides.
Yes,
See it.
I will reshare that screen to the people on Zoom as well.
So as much as I like my garden, he loves his lawn.
Yeah, you 180, yeah, there it is, right?
Okay, back to,
There it
That
is.
slide.
yes,
So any of those houses that have the orange background are the ones that are impacted by this.
All right. I think my only other one is with all the work that's being done, will there be a lot of times where we can't flush our toilet or run the sink or?
I mean, there may be there will be some minor inconveniences when your particular service is getting hooked up that day.
Oh, okay.
And then, you're in an urban corridor with a lot of utilities, so there's chances and times that they accidentally break a main or something like that, but no, there shouldn't be extended plant outages or anything like that. They'll likely provide temporary water, depending on how they decide to construct things, so that will be maintained through construction and not worried about disrupting that system water.
Thank you.
We will also provide, the contractor will be providing notice, so minimum 72 hours generally for water if there are planned interruptions. And then sewer and access to the property is usually given well in advance as well.
I'm Janet Morley, I live at 188 Union, so I want to thank you for not shrinking the road, because that was my biggest concern. And also, I know it's selfish, but that I still have my patch of dirt.
Try.
I forget, in terms of having to have cars out of there for the day, like what's that time frame and how long is that?
Generally speaking, 7 to 5.
Okay, and is that for what, from spring to,
During the duration of the project, it'll be, and there'll be a ramp up time, there'll be a peak time, just like any other project.
Yeah.
And then, there'll be, that they're working on another block, so it doesn't really,
Okay.
But the street's so narrow,
Yeah.
to get the dump trucks and stuff.
yeah, we'll know ahead of time is all, I guess.
Yes,
Okay,
but in general, you should plan on being ready to move your car at 7 o'clock in the morning,
if we wanna
or
get out.
parking on a side street.
Yeah.
You should be able to get out at all times, unless they're working directly in front of your house.
Okay.
Which time you'll know about it before
Okay.
it happens.
And I know it's crazy to ask, but how long are you anticipating this will go on?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if we know the exact construction. We won't know until we kind of get through final design and figure out how.
5 to 7 years.
Yeah, won't be that long. I mean,
5 to 7 months
Okay.
is realistic.
Yeah. One
For the-
construction
for the-
season.
For the bulk of it, you know what I
Okay.
mean, it might get stretched out because of this or that, but generally speaking, this is not a huge project, so it's not gonna take multiple seasons. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Thank
Might
you.
come back the following year and put the finish over some road or something like that, but it's not gonna be some ongoing campaign.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for anyone here? Okay. So we have one attendee with their hand raised.
There's something in the chat as well, is that.
Can't see the presentation.
Share the screen, so I apologize, Adam,
Again,
again. We can leave this up. Have them.
So Adam, you had a question as well?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent, thank you very much. So I keep hearing you say you've measured and you're not narrowing our street. And as somebody who drives down Columbia Street 3 or 4 times a week, I don't know if you guys ever drive down that since you've done that work, but you have created a completely one-way street. So if I turn onto Columbia from Islington and somebody happens to be coming up it from Middle, one of us has to stop if people are parked on both sides, because there is nowhere to go. And I'm assuming you measured Columbia as well. So I'm just curious, when you say you measured us and you're keeping us the same and you even gave us a foot, you got to understand my skepticism, because I don't see a lot of improvement in the roads here with all this work. I see the intersection down at Bartlett, which is kind of a disaster. I don't understand how that even made it with all those, what is it, 180 condos going in down there? And you narrowed Columbia. State Street has been dug up and undug and dug up and undug 5 times in the last 2 months. So I'm just curious about your planning and how you're, our street's almost impassable in the winter as it is with the snow mass.
Sure, Adam, yeah, no, I can talk to that. So yes, there have been several streets that have been narrowed, and again, it's a balance between, if you have a certain constraint right of way to right of way, you're trying to provide a wider, right now, your sidewalk is not maintainable on Union Street. And so it's gonna be wider than it is today, and that's what happens on a lot of these projects. And on the section of Union Street on the other side of Middle, it was narrowed to 28 feet. And after getting some public input and talking with some maintenance folks, they agreed that we would skew the balance a little bit more towards a wider curb to curb section. So we know it's what it is today because we've surveyed it and we have the existing dimension of what the curb to curb is, and it's not consistent. There are sections that are wider than 30 feet now, but there's also sections that are narrower than 30 feet. So it's similar to what it is today, is what we're proposing to do, which would be wider than some of the other projects that have been done.
So, I mean, again, that doesn't really, all that tells me is that we have one-way street that you're gonna maintain as a one-way street if people are parked on both sides.
Yeah, so
There's
I mean,
no
you
way-
have, you're constrained by the right of way width, so there is no ability to provide significantly wider than what you have today. If you're going to allow parking on both sides of the road, then you're going to be in this situation where you don't have 20+ feet of clear space between the parked cars, which I understand the restrictions of that, but it also helps calm some of the traffic and limit some of the cut through traffic that you might otherwise see. So that there's a balance to that, but that's kind of a bigger overall issue as far as what you want to see for parking demand, access, traffic calming, all those sorts of things. But for us to provide the best balance we can to try to accommodate grass strips, try to accommodate trees, and a must of providing ADA sidewalks on both sides, that was kind of the balance we struck with a 30-foot, which was wider than what we had considered originally, which was narrowing it down to 28 feet.
Well, I guess, like I said, I'm skeptical because I've seen all the other roads in Portsmouth that have been redone have just gotten narrower and narrower. I mean, I leave town on Middle since you guys redrew those lines from the first bike lanes over, and I am regularly run off by oncoming traffic who are in my lane. That's at least 3 times, 4 times a week, because the lanes are exactly the width of a car, and you put an 18-wheeler on there, they don't make it around those corners, and you haven't restricted them. So,
Right, so we're focused on Union, and all I can tell you is that the existing curb to curb width is similar to 30 feet, and that's what will be put back in a very straight parallel fashion to what compared to what's out there today.
yeah, okay.
Thank you for the comments. Any additional on Zoom?
Any additional Zoom comments? Any additional in-person comments? All right, I will thank you all for attending. I hope you have a nice night.
Thank you, guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.